right, what a wild Thursday night of football we had. In the first half, clear skies, green grass. In the second half, a blizzard. At least that's what it looked like on the screen. The Cleveland Browns defeat the Pittsburgh Steelers 24-19. The Steelers now 8-3, the Browns to 3-8. And there's actually a lot of takeaway that I had from this game, but I want to start off with the Browns' perspective here, as they were the victors in this game, and I'm going to give them that bit of benefit of the fact that they won, I guess, and talk about them. For starters, Nick Chubb, 2 tubs in this game. Nick Chubb, a guy coming back this season from a second really major knee injury. 2 years ago, in my opinion, he was the best running back in all of football, a guy who in college had a really major knee injury like this, and some people didn't think he'd ever make it to the pros. He made it to the pros, battled through it, and ended up being one of the league's best running backs while he was at his peak of powers. Now, it doesn't look like he's there, averaging 3 yards per carry tonight, 2 touchdowns though, and helped the Browns pick up this victory. I love Nick Chubb. I'm happy to see him in this moment. I'm happy to see him kind of celebrated in this fashion, him be one of the big reasons that his team picked up a victory. Yeah, the Browns season is over, but nice moment for a guy in Nick Chubb who has been resilient his whole career and truly deserves it. Now, for a macro picture thing on the Cleveland Browns, how do you watch Jameis Winston continue to get this team more up, more energy, playing good football? It's not perfect by any means, and go back to Deshaun Watson next year. I'm not saying you stick with Jameis, but how can you see somebody of Jameis's caliber, who many across the league at this point in time feel is just a high quality backup, have your team in a much better spot consistently than the starting quarterback that you are committed to? I mean, put aside just for a moment that he's a total scumbag. When you see him be outperformed by your backup in the offense, so much more in rhythm, Jerry Jeudy actually looking like worth the money that you paid for. David Njoku, he had a drop touchdown catch in this game. I mean, that was a brutal drop from him, but he had one. Jameis ran in a touchdown in this game. The team believes in him. There's fight there. How do you see that and go back to Deshaun Watson next year? Not just for yourself, but how do you sell that to your fans? Hey, we're going to go back to the guy who the offense was clearly worse under, hasn't played great football since we traded for him. And then you could factor in all the off the field shit of like, guy's a total scumbag, 30 some cases against him. Obviously it's all alleged, but 30 is 30. I don't know. And even again, wherever you stand on Deshaun Watson's off the field issues, on the field, he's just bad. And I don't know how the Browns, with this high level of a roster, that great of a defense. I mean, talk about Myles Garrett, fucking game record tonight. I was one of the people, hand up Browns fans. You can sound off on me in the comment section if you must, but I was one of the TJ Watt over Myles Garrett for Defensive Player of the Year people last year. Myles Garrett tonight, what did he finish with? 3 sacks? Or what, did he get another one, or was 3 the final count there? 3 sacks, 3 tackles for loss. 3 sacks in the first half, all over. Absolute game record tonight. Myles Garrett was a beast. That defense, though, they got guys all over it. Kevin Stefanski, hell of a coach, won Coach of the Year last year. Jeudy emerging into his own. I like what I seen from Elijah Moore. David Njoku, not a big night tonight, but we know who David Njoku can be. How do you have all this talent and a good coaching staff on the Browns and refuse to put them in a position to win? The best quarterback play that the Browns have had over the last 2 seasons is like a 40-year-old Joe Flacco. And by the way, they were in a playoff game with that. Imagine what the Browns could do if they get competent quarterback play. Personally, I would really love to see Jalen Milroe to the Browns. That's kind of where I'm at as an NFL fan. But the Browns 3-8, big win. Great to see. Well, big win in terms of, big feel. Divisional game, Pittsburgh, Thursday Night Football, snow game. Obviously not big for the rest of their season, but happy for Nick Chubb that he was able to be a major factor in this. Love Nick Chubb. Now let's talk about Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, I'm not sounding the alarms. I'm not super, oh my God, what does this mean for Pittsburgh's future alarms yet? Back to back, kind of meh offensive performances. Now, I will say to this back to back AFC North rivalry games, short week, the snow here. Like, I'm willing to give Pittsburgh the pass, obviously, for this Thursday Night Football game's offensive output. Following a bad offensive output against the Ravens, though, I'm like, did teams start to get tape on Russ? That's just a little thought in the back of the mind. I'm not committing to it, but full transparency, it has crossed my mind. And I thought Russ played well tonight, to be honest. 21 for 28, 270 yards, a touchdown, a 116.7 passer rating. Like, Russ played fine, if we're being completely honest. It was just a weird, wonky game. But when you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, and of your last 8 games, 6 of them are divisional, and the other 2 are the Chiefs and the Eagles, like, you got some weird fucking wonky games coming your way, man. Now, you had the big win over the Ravens. The loss to the Browns here stings. It's a slippery slope, because you have another game versus this Cleveland team in Pittsburgh. You have 2 versus Cincinnati. You have another game at Baltimore. Like, this AFC North is by no means a done deal for Pittsburgh. And it was by no means a done deal coming into this game. But this loss, if you're a Ravens fan, I mean, they may be celebrating harder tonight than Browns fans, because it's like, oh, our window's open. Now we'll see what happens in the Harbaugh Bowl on Monday, Chargers-Ravens. But the door has been crept open for Baltimore to take advantage here and then have Pittsburgh come to their house. Now, for the Steelers, I did mention that I'm a little worried about the offense perhaps being just a tad bit figured out. I did still like what I saw tonight. The big playability is certainly there. Russ, I believe, was 4 of 8 on big plays tonight, 125 plus yards. Calvin Austin, George Pickens, like, those guys as his deep weapons is still working. Van Jefferson even caught one down the sideline for 35 yards. Fryer move over the middle. Like, they're in a good spot here. Pittsburgh, I still think, personnel-wise, has the best defense in football. TJ Watt, in my opinion, the best defensive player on the planet. Myles Garrett gave him a run for his money tonight. Patrick Queen, one of the better linebackers. Minkah Fitzpatrick. Like, all the reasons that if you guys saw my tier list video that I have Pittsburgh in Super Bowl contenders, I'm not willing to just pull that away yet. I'm not sounding the alarms on a short week, Thursday Night Football, snow game, divisional loss to a team that is, what's the word? I guess like below average, but in the NFL, the gap between these teams is a lot closer than it seems. So, it really can be any given Sunday, any given week. I wasn't a huge fan of some of their play calling from Arthur Smith. Really, I think that was my biggest gripe with Pittsburgh in this game. I thought their offense for the first 3 quarters was just way too predictable. It was inside run. Shit, we're at 3rd and 8. Let's try and throw it to pick it up. And if we get to 4th down and 1, another inside run. Rinse, recycle, repeat. It was very predictable. It was very bad. It felt like the offensive game plan coming into this game was not that Pittsburgh was overlooking Cleveland, but that they thought they could just go in there, play simple, and get a win, and that Cleveland wasn't really going to try and fight. And Cleveland, to their credit, busted their ass. And Pittsburgh got punched in the mouth a couple of times on 4th down. Then the conditions got real bad, and it was like, well, we got to go for, we're not kicking, and it turned into this shit fest completely. But this is one of those concerns for Pittsburgh. When their offense doesn't fully have it, there isn't a next level that Russ can get to or the offense can get to where there's a takeover level player. If the offense doesn't have it for Buffalo, Josh Allen can go out there and get it his own. Same for Baltimore with Lamar. Same for Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes. Same for, Justin Herbert in the Chargers. Joe Burrow. Having these top tier quarterbacks that can extend plays or make plays themselves with their legs, like Russ isn't that. Russ in the Pittsburgh Steelers very much so fall into their system and their system working. Now, to be fair, 8-3, systems worked most of the year. But if you are a Pittsburgh doubter, this game proves your point and is exactly why there is a little bit of doubt of Pittsburgh. I get it. I still have them in my Super Bowl contenders tier. I still think this team gives me a very 2012 Ravens-esque vibe. Quarterback that clearly is not viewed as the top tier echelon quarterbacks in his conference. A defense that is very good and has the best defensive player in the world on it and very good at all three levels, a decent run game, and a good wide receiver or two. They can go on a run and very well coached. Pittsburgh, I still believe, can go on a run, but tonight made the AFC North just all that more interesting for Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens to catch up with Pittsburgh. But those are just my thoughts on tonight's game. Let me know yours in the comment section. If you love the NFL, check out the channel, like what you see, hit that subscribe button. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.